Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 53 of your show, Manage Better. I can quickly see that we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube already. And those who are live on these platforms, LinkedIn and YouTube, please let me know where you are joining from and how excited you are for the show. But great to see you here. As I said, this is episode 53 of my series on Manage Better, where I bring coaches, consultants, authors, practitioners, people who've made a difference across multiple fields and are willing to share the lessons they have learned. And through this, you are able to join or meet people who you might not have access to, or you may have read about, or wanted to know, or wanted to meet. And it is my honor and privilege to be able to bring such people to you. We've had some fantastic guests over the last couple of years or so on the show, and today yet another fantastic guest uh, on the show. So I will in a minute bring our guest for today, Anand Pillai, in the show. First, a little quick introduction for Anand, and then we bring him into the show. So yeah, Atish, thank you very much for confirming that this is available and live on LinkedIn. So great to see. So let me quickly introduce Anand Pillai. But my suggestion, of course, to everybody is that if you want to know more about Anand, please head to his LinkedIn page. One of the most accomplished transformation professionals you will get, and you'll get ever to meet, right? So he has wide experience, over 40 years experience in leadership, transformation, and related fields. And I've been trying to get him on the show for some time because he brings two topics that I'm very passionate about. So those who know me that I dabble in the space of transformation, quality, innovation, simplification, that kind of a space. But in that space, nothing much is possible unless you have some leadership ability to make that change possible. Right? Anybody can plan a change, anybody can, well, maybe not anybody, but most people can plan or think of a change. But to be able to get that change happen or to execute that change is a mindset and a practice or a skill set that not everybody has. Anand has that. And he has demonstrated in leading companies, including HCL, Reliance, the Tata Group, and many more over the last 40 odd years. And for the last several years, he is a consultant in this space and offers his services to any organization that could benefit from this. He's a highly paid and paid is important because this show is free. But you are lucky, you are not paying for this attending this show. He would charge quite heavily for his time, which is fair because when people bring such skill sets and experience, this is people do pay for such wisdom when they want to attend. So without further ado, let me bring Anand into the stream. Anand, yes, this is fine, fantastic. Yeah, I think we did want to see you the right orientation. So thank you very much. People, Anand is actually traveling, and you can make out that he's not in a space where which he can call home or his office, but he's chosen to honor the commitment, and I'm grateful that Anand, you could honor the commitment that you made for us. So thank you very much, and namaste, and welcome to the show. Any opening
Thank you.
comments, sir?
No, no, I mean, you've been too kind to me in your introduction, and that's extremely nice. But I like the perspective that you brought in terms of transformation, how it cannot happen without people and process being involved. And you're right on target there.
Thank you very much, Anand. And I mean, I have some experience, and I've been following your career as well for some time, right from your HCL days, and then subsequently Reliance and all. And we spoke about it as well. And
Yes.
you bring that, the leadership execution ability in transformation, and that is why many of your experiences turned out successful. As very much better than me that many transformation programs actually fail. So, and they fail often because of execution or lack of execution than because of the strategy or the planning. This is also very well explained in concepts like the Malcolm Baldrige program, in many other HBR and other related articles, that 70-80% of the success is actually the execution ability. Not to demean the planning or the strategy, that is of course important, but once the strategy and planning is there, it needs people who have the resolve, the courage, the determination to make it happen. And I see you as one such person. So today's show, I am looking forward to a lot of stories, Anand, from
Thank
from
you.
you. So let's see. Let's dive into the show. We already have quite a few guests on the LinkedIn platform, and hopefully we'll have a fantastic time. So diving straight away, and the format, Anand, is that I have some questions prepared for you, all easy ones. The tough questions come from the audience. So we will get into the audience questions maybe at about half an hour into the show. So those in the audience, please keep sharing your questions. I will bring those questions into the show in about half an hour's time. So first up, you've been part of many large transformations, Anand, and some are of course publicly available, many are not, because there are transformations within transformation also sometimes. And what we see is only the public face of the transformation, but there are many other aspects of it. Can you share some top of the mind examples or stories that tell us what kind of scale and complexity of these transformations you were able to manage? We've lost Anand, but don't worry. The he's actually taking the call from a guest house or a shared space, so he'll be back in a minute. But like I was talking about Anand earlier, and I will just pull him back. He's back into the show.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I think there is a technology glitch.
No
You talked
problem.
about stories. You talked about stories. I can think of two. See,
Sure.
when I came back from US in the year 2002, after
Hmm.
9/11, I was given an assignment, and I can name the company, HCL Technologies or HCL Comnet, to head the sales. And the challenge there was to transform, or I mean, the word transform was used later on, to really change the company's product line from the revenue stream from products into services. The company at that point in time was dealing with networking products from my earlier company, Bay Networks, Cisco, 3Com, Motorola, and so on. And from there into services, because Anshuman, you know very well that the margins in products is very, very less. Whereas the services is where the big game changer is. So when I was given that role, I said, okay, fine, let's do what we have to do. But we have to refuel the aircraft while it is flying. Nobody gives you a breather time. So you have to hit the ground running. So three things I did. The first thing that I did was I said, listen, let us change the outlook of our customer facing employees, because earlier they were into what we would call box mindset or dabba bejne wala hai. I mean, just you want what you want, I will give it to you. That's the first thing. So get into solution selling, get into conceptual selling, get into getting the customer's need backward. So that's the first mindset change. That's the first thing that we did. The second thing is reorient the company's manpower into more of consulting people, more of solutioning people, rather than on pricing and compensation people. See, earlier the company was, as most of you would know, L1 basis. Okay, you got your lowest price and then you got yourself in. So reorient the pricing model, or reorient even the manpower model. That's the second one. The third and the biggest thing was to get the company to buy in that there will be a dip in the top line in the hope that the bottom line will improve. And we did that. And this involved a lot of people development, a lot of reskilling, a lot of mindset shift. And that was a big game changer. In fact, the opportunity when the solutioning people, the network optimization people saw when their value add was far greater in that particular client than what it would have been if they had sold a particular product, that thrill in their face really brought in a higher level of engagement, and that got the organizations buy-in, and they said, way to go. And we are only as good as our last quarter, and one quarter bottom line increased, and then the impetus and the sponsorship came from the organization, and we went gung-ho whole hog into reorienting ourselves. One other shift that happened was the company at that point in time was largely a satcom company, satellite communications company. We moved it into a data communications company, where there was a lot of opportunity for network optimization, network solution architecture, entire security operations, and value added services. And that was the first, if I may use the word, transformation which was brought out, and that was a big impact on the bottom line.
Fantastic. I think so. I'm glad you picked a story from a little deeper in your experience, because sometimes we are also as good as our last innings. So recent experiences try and become dominant, and most of the recent experiences are very technology driven. I wanted to remind people of the fact that transformation as programs have been around for very, very long time. Only that technology and related aspects are now overpowering some of these programs. That is a new phenomenon, and we'll get to that. I need your views on how technology is helping as well. So, but so glad that you could bring some stories from these. And to my audience, I think it is extremely important to understand that there are multiple layers in a transformation program. So what you see in the public is, one sweeping 10% increase in revenue, or 20 basis points, or some huge improvement in profitability. That actually breaks down into many projects, like Anand just explained. And that is one of the key points in transformation, that don't think of the uh, don't think of only the main goal. Break it down in a little bit, and then you were able to achieve that goal. So the moving on a little bit, Anand, what according to you are some good outcomes of a transformation? So obviously, any transformation starts with a large goal, but there will be some outcomes that will be there, and you know we will have this a little bit today. So please bear with me, because this Anand is not in his regular office, so he did offer his apologies that there will be a little bit of in and out, because he's taking the call from his phone. So just to take back to all of you to what he's sharing in terms of the Anand, I was just trying to, and we completely understand that since you are taking it from a phone, each time there will be a phone or a message, this will
Yes.
happen. So don't worry, we will adjust to the tech challenge today. But I was just giving a summary of what you were trying to share with us earlier, and trying to put it in perspective that any transformation program we pick up, we must always have the ability to break it down, and that is where
Yes.
the true goal or true talent or true perseverance of a transformation manager is. And many of us are in that space, that how are you able to break it down into chunks that we can then deliver? Otherwise it can be an elephant that nobody can eat. Apologies to the vegetarians in the show, but the you get my point, that you have to break it into some chunks.
Chunks. Yes. Yes.
So, and today that chunking is called, program and project management. So you have a portfolio, you have a program, you have a project. Those who are more familiar with PMP or Prince, kind of a project management streams, you have a portfolio of programs, then you have programs, then you have projects, and then you have activities and tasks. So just breaking it down for everybody. But moving on the second area that I wanted to quickly explore is that what, according to you, are some good outcomes of a transformation? So, of course,
Yeah,
the
that is what I was about to answer. I saw 5 outcomes. The first thing is improved operational efficiency. That was a big thing. We saw that almost in the first 2 weeks of it. We saw that our ability to win a particular account, our predictability became far higher, because hitherto we were resting on the competency of the principal. Now we are resting on our capability, our competence. That's the first one. The second one was enhanced customer experience. Customers constantly would say, listen, you're not adding any value, you're only a pass through. Now when we were doing solutioning, when we were doing architecture, the customer had a better experience of us as a vendor. So there was an improved customer experience. The third one was the ability to innovate and adapt to the changing needs of the customer. In the earlier case, when we were selling only boxes or products, once the product is sold, unless there is an upgradation that is required of the product in the end of life, which is 3 to 5 years, there is no more involvement. When it is services, there is a lot of opportunity for us to keep on adding services, optimize services, innovation, adaptability. So the opportunity to upsell and cross sell became a big thing, and it was an ongoing one. That was the third one. The fourth one is, as a result of this, because of that enhanced customer experience, we had a bigger competitive advantage over the others. And that was a game changer for us. Ultimately, all this four put together gave the organization the agility to manage the changing business environments and the changing customer environments, more so the changing principal loyalties. Earlier, the principal would be very favorable to us. When I say the principal, that could be a 3Com or a Cisco. They would be loyal to us based on the amount of revenue we gave to them. Now, we are getting more traction from the customer because of the amount of value that we added. In fact, I didn't even know this word transformation. See, this is 20 years ago. Today we call it transformation. See, the problem with life is lived forward and history is written backward. So if we knew then what we know now, we would do things differently. So one of the customers said, wow, you brought in a big transformation. I said, wow, thank you. I mean, I did nothing. All that I did was sell our services. And that kind of coined, and I'm talking about 2002, 21 years ago. 21 years ago, this happened, and success begets success. So we really got excited and we said, let us do this on an ongoing basis rather than just as 1 quarter or 2 quarter. And that became a big game changer. Now, having said that, exactly the opposite assignment was given to me. So this assignment was shifting from products to services.
Okay.
And then I moved into HCL Technologies in 2005. And there, the company was into largely software services. How do you productize your services? Because the moment you productize your services, I mean, it's going back to our earlier software days, reusable code, and you package it. You package it into the verticals, you package it into the horizontals. The verticals could be life sciences, healthcare, pharma, travel, transportation, logistics, energy and utilities, semiconductor.
Don't worry, guys. Anand will be back in 30 seconds. But like you heard, what Anand is sharing, of course, is so much experience in this space, and everything that he has done is like a transformation program. So that is a lesson that we can draw from his experience. Anand, I'll just complete this thought that I was trying to summarize your last response, and I know there is more, but that everything that you have done, you have taken it like a transformation program. So even though you say that you didn't know of the word transformation, and back then, of course, I was also working and we had not heard of these words, but your approach to your career has been to pick up every assignment as a transformation, look at the objectives that this transformation is required and what can be done to achieve that transformation. And that reminded me of something that Dr. Juran, who's known as the father of quality management or modern quality management, often used to say that every program should lead to every quality program should lead to benefit in revenue, cost, employee satisfaction, and customer satisfaction. If these four are imbalance or out of balance, then the outcome is not sustainable. So, of course, we must make revenue, but we must make revenue with profit. So, if the profit is not there, the revenue increase will eventually become a problem because your cost will go up tremendously high. Similarly, if the revenue is high, you are making profit, but customer is not happy, means that you will not have a long game to play, because customer will find somebody else who can make or give that joy to the customer. And same extension is that if all three are there and yet your employees are not happy, means there is something wrong and they will not deliver the uh, effort on a sustained basis. So I thought I'll add a little bit from the lessons I have learned over the years, that any program must have these four, and of course there can be more pillars, but these four fundamental pillars should be there. And in your response that you were sharing about HCL and move to services, that also comes true. Sorry, you were talking about the move to HCL,
Yeah,
services.
technology from ComNet to technologies. So there we had to productize our services into the horizontals, into the verticals, and really basically make sure that you provide an increased customer experience. Basically, non-linear growth. So if 1,000 people are producing X amount of revenue, and if you want to double that revenue, you don't need 2,000 people, 2X. Non-linear growth, but non-linear growth, not incremental, but quantum, where you productize the services and really reuse that knowledge, reuse that expertise across verticals and across horizontals, which was again another big transformation, which enabled us to add several basis points to the profit line.
Fantastic. I think, you know, you explain as if it was, a very simple thing, but obviously I'm sure audience and I definitely realize that this was one of the most celebrated transformation stories of its time. And I wanted to explore a little bit that, your success at HCL also resulted in the next stage in your career, which was at Reliance. So, any quick stories around that part, which is probably one of the most celebrated stories in transformation in the last maybe 2 decades in India? Not many people realize that the man behind that and the entire Reliance transformation is speaking to us today.
Yeah, I mean, I can't claim the credit entirely. So, what really, again, see, from products to services, services to product, we kept shifting. Here came a very interesting scenario where in the company that I was in, I was largely focusing on employee first, customer second. That was the philosophy, that was the game changer. So, it was very, very people centric rather than entire technology centric, because in the manpower industry you have to focus on people. I go into the largest or country's largest private sector enterprise, and that company at that point in time was run, I mean, it was a $52 billion company, but largely about 12 people were running the company, very people centric. So move the company or move the entire system from a people centric initiative to a process centric initiative as you keep on growing, as you keep on multiplying. So shift that into bringing in processes, key processes, key process for people management, processes for vendor management, key processes for succession planning, everything into processize the activities. Shift from people centric economy to a process centric economy, because that is what will give you the scale that you need to go large implementations. So from $52 billion, by the time I left, it was $78 billion, and now it is over $100 billion. So the moment you put processes in place, rather than, because people, there will always be a shortage of talented people. The moment you processize it, you then.
No worries. I think like we shared earlier. So I hope you got as listening in the audience, and I thank you for your patience. you understood this whole concept, the move from HCL to um, Reliance. And today we know Reliance, of course, as the behemoth. Anand was able to bring that shift from personality specific. And Anand, I do remember, people like H.S. Kohli and all, whom you might know very well. So they were all, of course, at very, very humble, but very nice people, but sometimes larger than life. And I was a consultant to Reliance in around that same time on quality. So I do remember some of these personalities who, like you said, 10, 12 people, 15 people would drive everything in the large behemoth of an organization. And today we know that they have spawned into multiple businesses. Many of those businesses have now found talented people who can run the operations pretty independently or relatively independently. All that was possible because of programs that you were involved in, where you were able to in a way democratize the organization a little bit, right? Of course, family run organizations will always have a family dominant say, and that is the nature of the beast. But to significantly democratize is a lesson that we can learn. So building on that transformation, Anand, and that part of your career, what lessons did you learn as a professional from that particular experience that you had?
I mean, basically, I would say three. First thing is you need to have an executive sponsor. You need to have a visionary. If you don't have a visionary, all your transformation stories will go through the noise, because you need to have somebody buying in that thing, somebody who's got the bandwidth, somebody who's got the ability to say, yes, I'm going to put my bets on you. So you need a visionary. And I'm really glad that in HL Technologies, we had a phenomenal visionary in the name of Vineet Nair. Outstanding. I mean, brilliant, let me tell you. So he was the person who was driver of this particular change. And of course, in Reliance Industries, Mukesh Bhai, he, along with his leadership team, were really very great people. So you need a visionary, you need an executive sponsor right at the top. Having said that, you also need what I would call change champions, because one or two people cannot run the show. So you go in, get the what I would call early adopters. There will always be people who are fence sitters. There'll be people who are going to wait and watch, but there'll be some people who will say, listen, I want to jump into the bandwagon. So we did a particular grid that we took from at that point in time a company called Booz and Co. The change grid. On the x-axis, we looked at the particular stakeholders support to that initiative. It could be low or high. And on the y-axis, we looked at the power of that particular stakeholder, low or high. We first focused on those people who are not at all supportive of our initiative, but who have a big power or big influence in the organization. Start winning them over. Provide the what's in it for me. Provide them the quick wins so that they can become our champions, because as I mentioned, already they've got high influence. And at that point in time, I used even the learning from Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point. Small things make a big difference. So we got these key stakeholders to become our executive sponsors and then move the value chain. So apart from the visionary and the executive sponsor, get the champions, or what I would call the change champions, at the top management and at the middle management. The third one, and Anshuman, you will know this better, you need to have technology. I mean, if you don't have technology for communications, if you don't have technology for bringing about reproductive or reproducibility of whatever you're doing, that came in as a big handy. So technology was very, very heavily involved, technology and infrastructure. And ultimately, this whole concept of employee engagement and employee participation, not just the executive sponsor, not just the change champions, but getting a large organization to rally around you. And again, to put things in perspective, I was only responsible for one of the 18 tracks of transformation in Reliance Industries. I was in the HCM track. There was a whole lot of other tracks. Each one had their own agenda, and we drove what we drove, and came to such a big success that everybody wanted to say, listen, mine is a legacy process. Can we transform this? Or we are doing this, for the last whatever 10, 15 years. Can we transform this? So everybody wanted to jump into the within quotes transformation bandwagon.
Truly awesome. I have some people commenting. So, Mahantesh is he's already loving this conversation, and he has shared. And I think Vivian Gomes, his name is not appearing, but Vivian is sharing. Thank you to you. 41 years of really good contribution. So we are all half an hour into the show. While Anand rejoins the show, please leave your questions. I see a lot of comments, but I would really like your questions so that we can make the best use of Anand's time today. And if you have questions from either your transformation journey or where you need his input or advice or any kind of related question, of course, keep it related to the topic so that we can bring in Anand's point of view. So thanks, Anand, for that Reliance story, because this is quite a shift actually. And each time you moved and you let it pass very simply that you were one of the 18 tracks, but this was probably the people track, which was often the most important track, because if people don't come together to deliver, every other track is actually meaningless, because even now, till the time AI and bots and all will start doing everything, human beings, at least in our lifetime, human beings will be the ones who will be making that change possible. So yeah, so glad that you could share that story. And I'm just reminding my audience to bring in the questions that they have so that we can take advantage of your time. So one question I will quickly bring in, and I think you alluded to this a little bit, that process change happens through people and technology. And of course, people have a role to play, and now increasingly technology also has a role to play. What kind of role have you seen technology play in such transformations? Any examples of, because most of your transformations are global and large and complex, right? So, and you rightly said that technology is important. Any examples or stories or principles that you can share with us from that part?
Yeah, technology, brings in automation and efficiency. What you can do manually, I mean, technology will be able to bring you that automation, ability to really put everything into a box, into reproducibility. And technology also gives us the ability to do instant or immediate data analysis and insights. See, bulk of the time, you don't know, you have a hunch, you think you are doing the right thing, but with technology, and particularly with very extensive data analytics, you can really go and say cause and effect. We did one very big initiative called leading indicators and lagging indicators. So lagging indicator is that which your goal that you have. Leading indicators are input based, which makes things happen. Most of the time, you are thinking that a particular leading indicator will produce a lagging indicator, but you don't know that for sure. Technology will help you do that simulation, help you really get the what if analysis and take that forward. I'll give you a simple example. Lagging indicator is, for example, employee attrition, revenue growth, or your profit margin. That is an outcome based. That is easy to measure but hard to influence. A leading indicator is input based, very hard to measure but easy to improve or influence. So a technology will enable you to really validate your leading indicators to ensure the success or the outcome of which is your lagging indicator. That's the second benefit. Third one is technology can really enhance your collaboration and communication. Without technology, it is just impossible to do a global, large-scale, multi-location, multi-unit implementation. So technology will give you that collaboration and communication. Technology will also enable you to do increased scalability and flexibility of an order that is humanly or manually not possible. So these are some of the big inputs or big ways, big levers in which technology can help or jumpstart or accelerate transformation.
Really brilliant to summarize, Anand. And as you were speaking, I recalled one transformation that I was part of, where we were trying to transform the entire project management of a large organization. So over 10,000 projects anytime were running in this organization. And one of the difficulties was having updated information on what project was at what stage. In simple terms, what is called RAG, or red, amber, green status. So even getting something like that, the original process was that the project manager will enter the red, amber, green. It will be entered into the system, then somebody will download it in Excel, load it into some kind of a platform where it can be analyzed, and then maybe in 3 to 4 days we will know the exact status. We made some improvements into the system, and we were able to see live red, amber, green. So now imagine projects leading to programs leading to portfolios. We could actually aggregate the health of the portfolio live as the data was being updated. So for all 10,000 projects, of course, 10,000 projects will lead up to maybe 500, say 600 portfolios and thousands of programs. So that is those are some of the things that only technology can make it possible. You cannot humanly do anything of this kind. And to my audience also, I wanted to share that this is one of the joys of new technology, that it brings, that if you apply technology to this kind of situation, you can aggregate the information from 10,000 to 500 or maybe even 50 programs. Like the 18 programs Anand mentioned, will have hundreds and thousands of projects. So that is another benefit of technology today that we have. And today, a lot of new technology or applications are able to do this. So thanks, Anand. And apologies, you have to keep jumping out and in. But I think so far, 35 minutes, we've been able to manage well. So thanks for that. Let me bring in a question now from the audience. Are you there, Anand? I see you frozen. You're back. Okay. So I'll take a question on now from the audience. Dinesh Kumar, Dinesh Kumar is asking, can you please share experiences in a MNC context? So, of course, HCL that you mentioned is an MNC and was an MNC even when you mentioned the examples from. But any more examples, so that I, Dinesh's hidden question possibly is that some of the organizations can have one context. So, what are the examples you have from other context, MNC context?
I mean, see, I can't take recent examples because many of them have got an NDA and stuff like that. But I can take one. Prior to joining HCL Technologies, I was the country manager and managing director of Bay Networks, which is a large multinational company which merged into Northern Telecom to become Nortel Networks. So the business transformation there that we had to bring about was, we were largely, focusing on value-added resellers or distributors, just focusing on numbers or the top line, making sure that we got our revenue through selling the products. Again, this is what became the precursor to what I did in HCL, was get into solutioning. We did not invest in our distributors enough to get them to be solution ready, enough to get them to have solution architects, domain consultants. So the big transformation that we brought about was, rather than focusing on the top line, focus on the bottom line as well, and get into solutions rather than just products. Anshuman, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, Anand. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm very much there. I mean, I was going in and out, and you took the turn to go in and out.
I thought I must give you some competition. Um, but no, there seemed to be some complete internet outage at my end, and
Okay.
StreamYard froze. But anyway, today seems to be the day for both of us to have some issues. So I think the question
Technology.
we you were just started. I don't know if you were able to answer. Was around
I
MNC
answered the
example.
complete question. I
Okay,
answered the
fair
complete
enough.
question.
Fair enough, fair enough. So there was another one where was around which was around, and I'm just quickly looking at. So Umesh Malik has asked a question about how do you create a sense of urgency and momentum for a change. So how will you create a sense of urgency and momentum,
Yeah.
particularly in a context where urgency and momentum might be missing?
Yes. Now, I mean, again, one big thing that all of us as transformation professionals, if at all we may use the word, should not do is don't boil the ocean. Don't churn the ocean. Don't expect everybody in an organization of 50,000, 1 lakh thing, everybody to have a sense of urgency. Find out who are the people who are going to be most impacted by what it is. Now, I'll give a personal example to talk about the sense of urgency, which almost everybody will be able to identify. About 20 years ago, I was holidaying in Malaysia, and I was on this same Saturday on a beanbag relaxing, and I was enjoying life. My uncle, he 15 years older than me, 15, 20 years older than me, he is on his treadmill and he's going crazy working up. So I told him, I said, Mama, what's wrong with you? First of all, today is Saturday. Relax. Why are you pushing yourself? You know, and I was really, I mean, you must have seen my posture. Yeah, I was half on the floor, half on the bean bag, and I'm totally relaxing. He said, No, 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 Anand, I need to finish my exercise. I told him, What's the sense of urgency? Today is Saturday, relax, take it easy. He said, No, don't upset me, don't disturb my routine. I need to do what I have to do. And then I thought I'll give him a proverb to get him to ease off. I said, You know what? Don't worry, you will not die. you know it will, one day all of us will die. Whatever you're doing, it's okay, one day all of us will die. And you know what he did? He said, Anand, if you die in one day, it will be good for all of us, but if you die over many days, it will be really painful for you and the people around you. And I remembered an aunt of mine who died over 18 months. She was bedridden. Basically, she was physically. Boy, you won't believe it, Anshuman. I jumped out of that beanbag and I said, Is there another treadmill? There wasn't another treadmill. There was a cycle.
So we are now playing catch up. Anand will join, but I hope you got the import of the personal story that he was sharing. That there
Got
is
into the cycle. I had that sense of urgency. And from that time onward till now, I've been on a physical routine which
hmm,
really made me important things are not urgent. Urgent
hmm,
things are not important. But if we delay our things, important things, they will soon become urgent. And at that point in time, we will lose the efficiency. So let us get to have a sense of urgency for important things way before they become urgent.
fantastically said. And as you were narrating this anecdote, Anand, of course I could see where it was going, knowing you a little bit. But I also keep telling my teams that look, most of the time what is urgent to us today was important to somebody else. So we are actually working on somebody else's important and trying to pretend that it is urgent to us. We should primarily be working on what is important. Of course, once in a while there will be something urgent because we could not finish it or somebody else could not do it and all that thing. But if you are working on an urgent basis every day, then there is something wrong, right? Because we will make probably some mistakes. So the question was more around how do we create the urgency. So of course we create the urgency through role modeling and personal examples. You can't take a matchstick and light a fire, because if you do that you will be instilling fear in the people that we manage, and instilling fear in the people we manage is the worst way to create a urgency, because it is not sustainable. It will probably be there for 2-3 weeks and then people will get used to that. So thanks. I think we are uh, one more question, Anand, is towards you know what can younger people who are involved in transformation programs, right, younger as in 3-5 year old experienced people, what can they do in a transformation program to build their career in that work stream? So anything on that? We of course have
Yeah.
had a career, you have a longer career, I am on my way, but anybody who's young, like 25-year-old, 27-year-old, in transformation program, what should their viewpoint be?
Yeah, I was see when you look at it, this question is asked: what are the competencies that are necessary for you to become a transformational professional? I see three big disciplines that a professional should have, which is marketing, strategy, and people management.
Hmm.
Underlying all that is quality and process. Okay, so there are three verticals and one horizontal. This is the horizontal that you're a guru in, and that is quality and process. That is a horizontal. It cuts across all the lines. But the three verticals that you need to have the ability, fantastic marketing acumen. You need to have a strategic mindset, and you need to have a way with people. So the youngsters, I would ask them to have an exposure in marketing, exposure in strategy, exposure in people management. While you're on these three towers, make sure that you have quality and process built in all the three towers. For example, sales guys, they always say flash in the pan. No, there is no flash in the pan. Build in process, build in proper account management, build in proper territory management, bring in process to your sales and marketing, bring in process to your strategy. And the strategy that I used, which was very successful, was blue ocean strategy. Clear method to the madness. And of course, people. Make sure that you have these three verticals and one horizontal. Dabble around with this. And the advantage with youngsters, particularly the 5 to 6 years experiences, you have the opportunity to dwell in each one of them. As you move up your career ladder, you get typecast into any one of them. But in the early stages of our career, we have the option of moving from one track to the other through lateral rotations within the company, through geographic rotations within the company, and through departmental rotations. And that should be embraced with wide open arms for us to build ourselves to be transformation ready.
The part around the three competencies, Anand, this is, you again in your style, you let it like roll like it was a simple thing. That is what experience and wisdom does. So I hope the audience caught this well, that, marketing and strategy and ability to the people manage people. These are in any job that we do is important. And these days I get, Anand, a lot of questions around personal branding because of my activities on LinkedIn. And I keep saying that, look, personal branding is nothing but, we are marketing ourselves. So we have a certain brand. Even if we don't realize, we already have a brand, and we are actually pushing that brand to other people. And if people like, they will connect with that brand. And if we of course add value and have something, so same in transformation or any other area, that we must be able to market what we want to do. And in times where attention spans are very limited, including that of leadership and everybody else, it is very difficult to sustain attention from people. So uh, very glad that you were able to list down the three areas of marketing strategy and people, and of course I'm glad that you mentioned quality and process as the underlying area. So moving on to next question, Anand, Mahantesh has asked a question around one of the dilemma for transformation leader is to go incremental or try and eliminate the problem. I would like to know, or that is he wants to know, what is your experience on in this dilemma, that should we go incremental or should we eliminate the problem? um, and any views on this?
Yeah, when we get into the whatever problem, if let us take the word transformation out. This is, I mean, the buzzwords we need to keep away. First thing is, what exactly is the pain area? Find out what is the root cause analysis. What is bothering it? Again, I go back to my leading indicator and lagging indicator. So if the lagging indicator is to solve the problem, is to increase customer satisfaction, is to increase the revenue, is to decrease attrition, is to increase employee engagement, is to increase employee productivity, find out what is the one thing that is really hampering that particular lagging indicator. For example, in the case of employee attrition, we can think of salary, we can think of work-life balance, but when you get into the root cause analysis, you find, and I found it to my shock, that people were square pegs in a round hole, meaning they were doing jobs that which they were not qualified or competent for. And as a result of that, people were quitting.
Right.
You give them any amount of money, that will not satisfy. So the traditional analysis was designation and salary, work life balance, whereas the person was not skilled. There's a beautiful verse in the Bible which says, when the axe is blunt and its edge unsharpened, more effort will be needed for success. So sharpen the axe. So what I basically would like to tell my friend who asked the question is, find out what is the root cause and fix that. Once you fix that, it can get to overcome and address the solution. You will, as a result of that, get not only quantum gain, you will also be able to get sustainable quantum gain. For example, that reskilling the people, once we reskill the people, you give them any amount of salary or don't give them any amount of salary, they brought in employability to themselves rather than employment. And let me rephrase this. This is a very important learning for all our hearers. We all want a designation. We all want a title. We all want a job rather than making ourselves ready for the job. So if I become more employable by being more skilled, by being more adaptive, by being more agile, I will be able to manage any economy and any industry. So address the root problem, address or find out the key leading indicator, and that will enable you to bring about not just incremental or quantum, but more specifically sustainable over a period of time. And I use the word recession-proof job. You will be able to get a recession-proof job if you don't focus on employment, if you focus on employability. And I started my career way back in 1982, Anshuman. At that point in time, I was a Unix systems administrator. From there, I mean, today, where is Unix? You have to move on into newer technologies. You have to move on into newer skills. Keep yourself agile. Keep yourself adapted. And then you will be ready. I'm 64 as I'm talking to you and still employed. How?
And
Because of keeping the skills within you rather than outside.
yeah, I think the one lesson, Anand, we can learn from all this is that that stay hungry, keep learning, adapt to new things. And one example I give in my area which is more transformation, quality, and processes. For example, Six Sigma used to be a very big and mainstay of all the work that we do. But over the years, new methods have come in, and but there are still people who want to do all projects using Six Sigma and very, I would say, statistical method. The world has changed. I'm not saying that Six Sigma is not useful anymore or not can't be used. It can be, but gone are the days where we will cling to it and say that it will solve all problems. It will not. So new skills have to be added. But the lessons we learn from Six Sigma are problem orientation, problem solving skills, creative thinking, systematic problem solving. That lesson can be applied to anything new that is available today. So exactly what you said, that learn from what you do, adapt or adopt the make juice out of it, keep that juice in small capsules and keep drinking it for the rest of the year. If you want to be like Anand, you can start, of course, in 1964 or 1984, as he said, and 84, right? You said
82, 82.
82 actually, right? So, and I'm not far behind. I started working in 94, so much younger to you, Anand. But I can see the lessons because both of us started working in a time where we had limited choices, but to learn and adapt, and with every new assignment, use that transferable skill. Right. So, and today's generation, I keep sharing that be hungry, learn, transfer those skill sets to a new area, and keep growing. Otherwise, many of the jobs that are existing today may not exist 5 years from now. What will we do if we keep clinging to those jobs or to the mindset? We will not have a job in 5 years' time, or such people will not. Thanks, Anand. There are quite a few questions, but I know that I booked only 1 hour of your time, and I'm glad that you could speak to our audience. I will hold on to something that you told me earlier when we were planning the show, that you would like to also do repeat sessions. So what we will do is that I will do a poll with my audience later on and see what topic I can engage with you on. Maybe an audio series also, small audio series on these topics. And audio series, of course, has slightly less, I would say, challenges up from bandwidth point of view. We may not have this issue that we had today. So I will try and design an audio series, maybe 3-part audio series or something along with you. So because I'm getting already a lot of requests that how can we get more time from Anand sir. So don't worry, people. I already have that offer from Anand, and I will hold him to that offer. It may take some time to plan because he travels quite a lot, but we will find a way. So that is one. The second, of course, Anand, I wanted quickly, in a minute or so, any reading or books that you can recommend, top of the mind books that you think our audience can read to get better
Yeah.
in translation and related areas.
And I keep getting these questions time and again. I go to B schools, they ask me, what is
Only,
the
only,
pre-read? What is
only
the
three.
case study? Yeah, you know. So we do things, we don't need to read books to do what we have to do. What we do is written in books and case studies for others to read. But nevertheless, I'll fulfill the question. One book that I would definitely recommend is Leading Change by John Cotter. Phenomenal book. I'll tell you, it is a basic,
Okay.
very old, Leading Change, John Cotter. The other one, unfortunately, author is no longer alive, Disruptive Innovation by Clayton Christensen. Really outstanding book. And a very basic book which everybody can read is Who Moved My Cheese? You know, and Spencer Johnson. It is
Spencer
such a
Johnson.
powerful book on change management and on sense of urgency that it is implemented properly. These three books can be very basic, but I don't want to give high flying books, which is all strategy or implementation or execution by Ram Charan and Larry Bossidy. All that is fine, but these are basics.
Execution is one of my top three of all
Yes,
time. But
yes.
it's really well. But I liked your choice also, starting from John Cotter's work and Spencer Johnson, completely different styles, but the message is quite similar. Actually, Heart of Change and who moved my cheese. Actually, the messaging is quite similar, but one is written as an academic treatise and one is written more as a story. So I'm glad with the choice. With that, some people are asking when is the next session. So yeah, don't worry. We need a little planning because Anand travels quite a bit, and we are stealing time from his precious work as well. So he, as he said, very gainfully employed in making transformation happen. But we will find a way. We'll find a way to steal his time. And in terms of next sessions, so I will. I have a Friday session coming up. Next Friday, 8 p.m. on audio event. So those who are regulars, my regulars, can join that event. Most likely will be related to building or issues in mid-career issues, which is my area these days. And next Saturday, I am trying to do a masterclass on mid-career. I will be the speaker, so you may not have a guest. So I'm just sharing with my audience. But thank you once again, Anand. It's
Thank you.
been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure,
Thank you
honor
for
to,
having me.
and I know that today was not the best day for internet for both of us. But that also shows one aspect of any transformation professional is that persistence. So you persisted,
Yes.
I persisted, and we made the show happen. And most importantly, over 100 people persisted throughout the show, even with the entries and re-entries that you had and I had. So I'm actually grateful to those 100 plus people, because it is very easy these days to lose patience on internet, on social media, and leave the show. But I'm grateful that they listened. And I will, of course, convert this show into a podcast and small clips so people will be able to benefit from him. So with that, and I know that Anand had to leave for another session. So I thank everybody in the audience. Oh, he's back just to say bye, maybe. So Anand, yeah. So thank you very much. I was just closing the show. Grateful. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye till the next
Thank
show.
you.
So
Thank you.
bye bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.